Hi everyone. We are continuing with learning about sound. What is sound? And today we're going to read about the characteristics of sound. What makes sound sound? So open up your activity book to page 10.2, and there are two sides to this page, so please make sure that you complete both sides. And I'm going to read through the questions so that you have an idea of what information you're looking for. And I've also given you page numbers where you can find most of the answers. There's a couple of questions on the back, and we'll talk about those that aren't found exactly in the text. All right, so here we go. What is pitch? Pitch is how loud or soft a sound is. Pitch is how high or low a sound is. Pitch is how fast sound travels through a medium. Pitch is the intensity of a sound. That answer can be found on page 80 in our reading. Number 2, what is volume? Volume is how high or low a sound is. Volume is the intensity of a sound. Volume is how long or short a sound wave is. Volume is how fast sound travels through a medium. The definition of what you think volume is may not be here, so you need to read along when I read page 84. Number 3, describe how the length of sound waves affects pitch. That's on page 82. Number 4, list 3 sources of a low-pitched sound. You're going to find these on pages 82 and 83, but if you have some of your own examples, you can list those as well, and you need 3. Number 5 is a question that you're not going to find right in the text. This is one that as we're reading, I want you to think about. This kind of shows us the main idea of the text. So number 5 says, which of these books would be the best to find out more facts about the characteristics of sound? Adventures in Light, Can You Hear Me Now, All About Animals, or Experiments with Food? Number 6, read this sentence from the selection. Very loud sounds can damage your hearing. Based on the sentence, which phrase best describes what loud sounds can do? There's more information about this on page 86, but you really can answer this without going back into the text. They can make you hear well. They can hurt your hearing. They can make you able to hear from great distance. They can make you able to hear a whisper better. Number 7, how would the world be different if all sounds were the same pitch and volume? And this isn't in the text. This is you coming up with your own answer. Think about that. How would the world be different now that you've learned about sounds and pitch and volume? If all sounds were the same pitch and volume, how would our world be different? All right, so you can follow along in your reader as I read. If you would prefer to just read the chapter yourself at this point in the year, you can gladly do that as well, or listen to it on the Amplify app. Chapter 7, Characteristics of Sound. Let's review what you have learned so far about sound by comparing it to light. How is sound different from light? Sound must have a medium to travel through, a solid, liquid, or gas. Light does not need a medium. Remember, light can travel through the emptiness or vacuum of outer space. Sound cannot. The speed at which light and sound travel is also different. Light travels much faster than sound. There are important ways that light and sound are similar. They are both forms of energy that travel in waves. There are also other similarities. So here's the sound. You can see the sound waves at the top and the light waves at the bottom. When you learned about light, you learned that light waves can be different lengths. Some are long and some are short. It is the length of a light wave that makes it appear to be a particular color. Perhaps you are wondering whether sound waves differ from one another. Imagine these two sounds, a baby crying for its mother and an adult yelling. Both of these are sounds. The sound waves of each travel through the same medium, air, so they are alike in that way. But a baby crying surely sounds different than an adult yelling. The baby makes a high-pitched screeching sound. When an adult yells, It is a low-pitched, deep tone. Could this difference in pitch, or how high or how low a sound is, come from different kinds of sound waves? You should be able to answer number 1 on your activity book page. And here we can see baby crying, adult yelling. Different, but the same. They're traveling through air, but they're different. The answer is yes, and it has to do with the length of the sound waves. It helps if we first understand how vibrations affect sound waves. Faster vibrations produce shorter sound waves, which make sounds with a higher pitch. The baby's screeching sound vibrates very rapidly, quickly, making shorter but more sound waves. Can you think of some other sounds that have a high pitch? Slower vibrations produce longer waves, which make sounds with a lower pitch. A yelling voice makes longer, fewer waves, so you hear a lower pitch. Pitch describes the highness or lowness of a sound. There's number 1 again. Can you think of some sounds that have a low pitch? Try changing your voice pitch. Can you speak in a high, squeaky voice? Can you speak in a low, rumbling voice? So here are some examples. Number 4 on your page is asking for some low-pitched sounds. So we already talked about some. And here are some examples of some other ones. Remember, the long, fewer waves are the low-pitched sounds. Sound also varies in loudness. If you're listening to the radio and a favorite song comes on, you might say, turn it up, and reach for the knob marked volume. When you turn up the volume, you are making the sound louder. A scientist might say that you are increasing the sound's intensity. More intense sound waves carry more energy and make louder sounds. There's the answer to number 2 on your paper. How far away can you hear a sound depends on its intensity. A quiet sound, like a whisper, doesn't travel very far. A really loud sound can travel for hundreds of miles. When fireworks are set off, the sound can be heard miles away. So there we see what the different sound waves look like for whispering and fireworks. And remember, volume has to do with the intensity of the sound waves. Very loud sounds can damage your hearing. People who work around loud sounds all day long often wear ear coverings or plugs to protect their hearing. You should be careful too not to turn the volume too loud if you like to listen to music, or turn your video games too loud when you're wearing headphones. So listening to loud sounds repeatedly can damage your hearing. So this is the end of Chapter 7. Please make sure that you answer all the questions on 10.2, the front and the back, and submit both sides. Good luck!